Hey, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Laughter Through Tears, the 120 podcast. I'm your host, Jackie Duda. I live in Central Maryland, and almost 5 years ago, I was taken by helicopter to Baltimore in septic shock from a colon perforation from undiagnosed diverticulitis. I've also been disabled for over a decade, and I have chronic conditions. So I wanted to create a podcast that addresses all of those topics and unifies it all together because, let's face it, people with disabilities and chronic conditions are more likely to develop sepsis. And there are just so many ways that these topics all overlap. And I'm here to give rise to all of our voices. And today I am really pleased and excited to have as my guest, Nieta Greene. I met her a little over a year ago. She started this wonderful community online. To my knowledge, there is no other community like it. Nieta is a dedicated advocate for inclusivity and a sense of belonging. She serves as the CEO and founder of Disability Community for Democracy. She also serves as a member of the Cambridge Commission for People with Disabilities. She has experienced various disabilities ever since childhood that influence her daily existence. Yet she remains resilient and proud as a disabled, Puerto Rican, Black, gender non-conforming gay woman who openly champions her identity. Nieta's work is rooted in the core principles of disability justice, emphasizing intersectionality, community-led solutions, and political empowerment, something that all of us in the disability community desperately need. Her steadfast confidence precludes the need for her to apologize for just being her authentic self, as she diligently advocates for those unable to voice their concerns. Her inspiring determination has motivated her to establish the Disability Community for Democracy Incorporated following the 2024 election cycle, as she recognized the need to safeguard the rights of individuals within the disability community and to provide us all with a platform for political engagement grounded intersectional disability liberation. Her leadership exemplifies a commitment to transforming systemic barriers into opportunities for collective liberation and equity. And Nieta, I am so pleased to have you here today. Thank you for being my guest.
Well, you're welcome. I know we've talked about this ever since you started this podcast, and finally I have opening in my schedule to do this. So I'm going to tell everybody, first of all, Disability Community for Democracy, even though it is incorporated, it is completely run by volunteers. So I have to actually work a regular job during a certain time of year that just passed called tax season. I am a tax professional. So I do this. I do the taxes. I love taxes. But it's different than the work I actually do with Disability Community for Democracy. For me, political access and liberation looks a little different than how most people see it, because it's not just running for office. It's not just doing all the things that we talk about, like getting people registered to vote, going to your city council meeting, calling your state representatives, calling your members of Congress, and all the things, volunteering for campaigns you believe in. It's also about, we need to be everywhere. We need to be in the workplace. We need to be in media. We need to be on stage. We need to be everywhere. And why Disability Community for Democracy? Why it was started after the election? Well, for those who remember, RFK dropped out. And there was a deal that said, hey, drop out. The current occupant wins. He becomes HHS secretary. That happened. That was in the press. I'm going to just say, Google's your friend. Don't believe me. Hey, that's a fact.
Here we are.
And he started with SSRIs caused this issue, to every single food causes ADHD, to people need to be in wellness camps, to now, this is his latest. A few years ago, he was on a podcast and he said, this is like a general quote, Black kids with disabilities and this is not an exact quote, need to be reparented if they take medication of some sort, ADHD medication or otherwise. Now, I'm going to say that this was the person who asked the question was a member of Congress, and he lied, saying, he didn't remember, he didn't say that. And it's like, there are receipts.
There's a recording.
There's receipts, there's a recording. And I know you follow Elizabeth Booker Houston. She's a personal friend of mine. She literally put together a clip that said, oh, but you actually said this. Played the clip. And then people came in her comments saying, like, she's lying. She says, no, she's not. He said it. I'm personally tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about some registry. I'm tired about hearing about Tylenol, acetaminophen causing autism. Vaccine causes autism, and it harms the disability community because we need to get those vaccines because we're already in danger of dying of diseases even more so. Even if let's say you have mental health issues, the stress of having mental health diagnosis, actually you don't take very good care of yourself sometimes. So you need to be able to get vaccinated from flus and colds if you're not taking care of yourself, even though you might not have, like, that might be your only thing. People like me who have more complex disabilities, I need to get vaccinated from flu and COVID. And I think this year would be the first year I get RSV because I'm not 50 yet, but I will be towards the end of the year. Like I'm a fall winter baby, and it's going to be my first year getting the RSV vaccine. And
I got mine 2 years ago.
Need it. We can't, like, if I get any of those, if I get COVID, if I get the flu, I get just a basic cold, my FND flares up, and we need people who are, I don't care he's not a doctor being the secretary. That's not the issue I have. The issue I have is that he won't surround himself with people who actually are scientists, who are in the medical profession, who are experts, even people who are policy experts but might not be scientists. He won't surround himself with any of those people.
Right.
That's the issue.
Right.
That's why we exist. And of course, all the other comments, ableist comments and ableist actions from this administration or a regime, whatever you want to call it, is also why we exist. But really, RFK was the impetus of getting us started.
Right. Exactly. Because I mean, you can't use disproven studies and disproven theories. It's bonkers for me to think why people, we have influencers now and everybody, they get online and they spout this wellness information without having an MD, without having, even with this podcast, I make sure to tell listeners and viewers, this is not medical information. You call 911, you talk to your doctor, but you don't see people saying that, and they are stating things as though it's fact. And a lot of the things like the autism and vaccines, well, that was disproven years ago.
That was disproven in the thousands. All of that.
Right.
I'm going to just say it is garbage, crap, trash, dumpster fire, whatever term you want to use. All of that stuff started in the 90s because it was starting to see increase in diagnosis, and people like Jenny McCarthy hopped on, and she was famous. And so she decided, as my brother would say, but the tinfoil hat conspiracy. And because she was popular, a lot of people believed her.
Right.
And it took it to the 2000s to clear all of this stuff up. And then it started going away. Right.
Yeah. And now it's come back with a vengeance. And you're absolutely right when you say that, especially those of us in the disability community, we need to get these vaccines. I can't risk COVID, being a sepsis survivor, and flus, and even a simple cold, like you were saying, knocks me out. And so we have to protect ourselves. I'm so glad when I found you and I tuned in for that very first meeting, which
you're talking about the bed-in?
Very impressive. You had impressive speakers, and everybody just clearly stated the issues and the concerns of the disability community, because I often feel like we're invisible. I often feel like our voices are muted.
They are. And I mean, I knew people who survived sepsis. I did not know how bad it could be until I met you. I wish would have known my ex-wife got sepsis due to an infection when she was on dialysis. She got the access created and got infected, and she almost died. Like, she almost died. And I remember when she got out of the hospital, like, did the surgery, and then she had a fever. And, and I was like, this isn't right. Right? This was different than
Right.
an MS thing that she would have sometimes. I'm like, we got to go to the hospital. And she's in the hospital for like 2 weeks. And so her sepsis didn't get as bad as yours, but it was made worse. And it triggered her MS. She had spasms all the time while she was there.
Yeah.
And then they were concerned that she needed dialysis. I'm like, no, you're not give her the medication.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can do the dialysis. You're going to kill her if you do the dialysis while she has sepsis. Like, are you stupid? Like, that's how I felt. Like, and I literally said to the doctor, are you stupid? Like, you talking about dialysis and she has an infection? Like, you got like that's not going to clean. And he's like, the doctor was like, yeah, I know, but, and I'm like, she's already been sick with kidney disease for like a couple of years at this point. It's like, another couple of weeks is not going to like kill her at this point. You will kill her if you keep adding on other stuff. And this is the stuff that they don't tell you, right? Like, I would have I had to look this stuff up on my computer. This was in the 2000s, so we didn't have smartphones like we do now.
Yeah, the little computer
In your hand. If you wanted to look something up, you had those like slide phones, and the internet was so slow, or you had to go home and use a computer. And even then, the knowledge wasn't like as detailed as it is now. And I mean, I know for you probably might not even remember some of the things, but some of the things that they probably would have been able to try that they couldn't try because if they would have, it would have made the sepsis worse.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I know because I didn't know what sepsis was either until it almost killed me. And so, yeah, that's a large part of my advocacy is that. And then also following along with people like you, because even here in my local community, I'm on our disability commission. And I can tell you, everybody with a disability, life is it's challenging each and every day in a way that people who are not disabled cannot even imagine. Because you had mentioned, like, what are some of your disabilities and your biggest challenges?
So I have something called it. This is actually, ironically, this is the month for it. So it's something called functional neurological disorders, one of the many I have. And it's literally the brain. It's similar to MS. It's the opposite side of the same coin, but the brain doesn't have lesions. The brain and the nervous system don't communicate properly. And one of the things I have is trouble sitting up. So you can't see it, but you see my arm, I'm literally holding on to a rowing machine because I'm exhausted today. Right. And when I'm exhausted, I gotta hold on to things. And also, I'm also neurodivergent in other ways. So I also need the different textures of the indoor rowing machine as well to help me stay alert. And so I have this weird setup. If you were ever to come to my apartment and say, well, why are you set up this way? This doesn't look comfortable, but it's comfortable for me because I need to be able to also sometimes lean into the wall. If you see me on live streams, I'm not looking straight ahead. And it's because I sometimes get so tired that even holding, I can't even hold my arm up and I need to lean against the wall and do it sideways.
Right.
It's also better audio quality because I don't like having a mic right in front of my face and I would have to hold it and it just doesn't look right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we learn how to adapt and accommodate because the world isn't really built for people with disabilities.
And especially when you have disabilities where you're reliant on a mobility aid above and beyond a cane, it definitely isn't built for you.
God, no.
Like, for example, I have to go to get something notarized tomorrow, uh, and like, and I had to make sure before I went to the place that I thought it was going to be at, I had to call, and they're like, "No, we don't do this here. It is the next town over." Right, it is the town center, the town hall, the next town over, right? Because I live in Cambridge, but I'm in North Cambridge, so I'm actually closer to Arlington, is the next town over
Yeah.
than I am to the city hall in where I live, and I'm just like, it's too far. Like, it's gonna take me more energy to take the train or an Uber than it would for me just to like get dressed and get in my steps, because I gotta get in my steps anyway. So so that's when you adapt to things. So in order for me to work out, because I also have some other things. I have this thing with my shoulder that's a temporary disability. It's just like, it just gets to a point when you have multiple disabilities, you're like, which one am I gonna have to do whack-a-mole today?
Yeah.
So today is the F&D, and being completely wiped, I did a live stream yesterday on the disabling effects of war for an hour and a half. And when you have F&D and you have to sit up for that long, and and you can't move, right? Because
Right.
is your stream.
Yeah.
I'm wiped after. Like, it takes me sometimes a full day to recover. That's why I do the live streams on Fridays. Like, the ones like my typical ones are
Yeah.
on Friday, because then I have the weekend. I have
Which work.
Saturday morning to recover, and then if I want to go out Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, I can.
Yeah. It's sort of like that spoon theory that they talk about, how which ones are the priority, how many are you going to spend today, and how many are you going to have left. You may start out a day with 5 spoons, and those are days I can barely get anything done. And then some mornings I might get up and I go, wow, I got 10 spoons, but I'll spend all 10 spoons.
I
and,
won't.
and then, like you said, then I'm flat out. I can't do anything else.
I'm literally flat out. And today I wasn't completely flat out, but that was just because I'm actually motivated on adrenaline. I had 2 interviews with 2 creators. For this, I had a meeting, um, for other projects working on. And this is the thing I think people don't understand when you start an organization from scratch. And you're not the typical, like, what people perceive disability is a white guy in a wheelchair, right? And so me and you don't fit. You might be white, but you're definitely not male.
Right. Right.
And I am definitely, even though I have white ancestry from my mother's side, especially, I am definitely not like white. I don't present as white. I am definitely not, you know, male, and I'm not straight. And so it's a lot more effort. And so for me, like, people are like, well, why do you do all of these things? And it's like, because I can't, like, I don't have the luxury just to do one. I have to actually prove it's like the triple tax. You pay based on race, you pay based on gender, and then you pay based on disability. And I have to show that I can handle interviews. I have to show that I can not only handle podcast interviews, but like if I'm talking to press, I have to literally, like, people don't take you seriously unless you do governmental stuff. This in terms of your advocacy on Capitol Hill. Like,
Yeah.
if you tell them I literally said, "Hey, I serve on my disability commission," at this meeting I had before this interview. And they're like, everyone's clapping, and it's like, and it just bet you we're having some, honoring everyone who serves locally on a commission or has in the recent past. And that's interesting. They were like super excited. They're like, that's a big deal. But for people with disabilities, if you've never cut your teeth in government of some sort, either on a political campaign or on a commission, they're not going to take you seriously. Or if you work for these big firms, right?
Right.
People take you more seriously, take me more seriously. I mean, the people have taken me seriously, but now they're like, she's on a government commission. It shouldn't be that way. People should take me seriously just based on the work Disability Community for Democracy does, but unfortunately they don't.
Right. And you have an amazing thing going. You have the newsletter, you have the live stream, and
the audio series.
Right. I mean, you cover it all, but something you said about you have to prove yourself. And I feel that. I mean, that's what I hear.
You feel it as a woman and you feel it as a person with a disability yourself.
Yes. If you're unknown relatively in those bigger circles, in the government circles, in the bigger corporations, and your outreach, you have 1,200 followers on Substack. Right?
Subscribers.
Right. So you have 1,200 subscribers on Substack. Not exactly small, but it's like me with this podcast. I checked, I have 114 followers or subscribers right now. Not a whole lot, but I still made a big deal about reaching 100 subscribers. But you're so 100% spot on when you said you have to prove yourself.
Right. And also that's why I did, I had the big event and I got who I got. I wanted to do this big splash. And what people didn't understand, I was wiped all day. That Sunday. I was just like, no, don't text me. Don't ask me for what. Don't ask me for anything because the answer is no.
Yes.
And that was like a 5-hour event. So I mean, I don't do those long events anymore because I know how it wreaks havoc on my body. But sometimes even doing an hour or hour and 15-minute event, depending on how I'm feeling, could also wreak havoc. So it's not even the time so much. It's also the how much energy I have. I call it like energy one. What's the energy scale today from 1 to 10, right? And that's usually couples with my pain level. So today, even though I'm feeling wiped from the live stream last night, I don't feel like I'm flat on my back because my pain is very low. Like my shoulder isn't like activated. My legs aren't. I walked 2 days in a row. I'm not going out today. I'm just going to like chill. It's also cloudy outside, so it's not tempting where I live. It looks like it's going to rain. It's been like cloudy all day. I'm like, I don't want to get caught in that. So I'm going to just chill out today. And I'm easing my way back into the self-care piece because I've been so busy with tax season and the work that with Disability Community for Democracy. Because I was doing those live streams. Those first live streams, I literally would have just had been basically finished work.
Yeah.
So the first one in February, the 2 in March, and the one on the April 10th, I had just gotten off of work, like an hour, maybe 2 hours before.
Yeah.
I had to go live. And that's live. That doesn't include start opening 15 minutes early to do the sound check with people.
See, this is what I wish that people could realize too. You are highlighting it so much here that people with disabilities are probably more reliable than people without. I mean, again, going back, I think to the thing where you got to prove yourself. You can't not do it. And your commitment is extraordinary. It's like, yes, I just did my day job. As you said,
and it's a seasonal job too on top of it, and it's more. And I had to work. That's the other thing I left out. Had to work the Saturday. I had to work the next day, so it's not like I have Saturday off. No, and I'm going to make this clear: Saturdays were not mandatory, but when you have a goal of around 200 returns to prep for tax season, I cannot work a 12-hour day ever and survive. I have to work 6 days, and I worked a half a day starting in February. I worked at least 4 hours every Saturday at a minimum. Usually more, like 5.5 to 6.5 hours.
And if people are looking at us right now talking, and they look at you and they go, well, she doesn't look disabled. That other girl doesn't look disabled. Like, what is that? Do you find that not looking disabled sometimes is also something that you have to try to inform people of?
I use a walker, so I mean, I at least have the visual
Right.
thing.
There's a
that,
visual cue there, yeah.
like either the walker or cane, and sometimes even if I'm not using that, how I walk sometimes, especially if I'm not using it, outside of like my apartment, like, 'cause in my apartment I'm fine,
Right.
because I have like, I can grab walls, I could like, it's like my apartment is my safe space. But once I like go into the hallway of, like, because I use, it takes a lot of energy just to open the door, right? Like, people don't understand, like, the door, even though the door is not heavy, I have to like say, okay, I got to put on my coat when it's cold. I got to put on my shoes. All of that is energy that I have to do. I'm not putting all that. I don't walk around my apartment with like my shoes on.
Yeah.
Like I'm, because I can't. I need the sensory input, like I do um right now, to be able to sit up. I need the sensory input to be able to walk, or else I will fall without it. Because that's what F&D, you need that. And because I haven't been able to work out the way I wanted to, it my F&D has, like, it's a dynamic disability. So if I don't get the sensory input through working out and lifting heavy, I have to get it through touching things and walking barefoot in my apartment. But then I apply a price for that when I have to get ready to go out, because I don't have socks on. I'm not dressing with socks on ever unless I'm going out. All right.
Yeah.
And that's last. Like, that's like last. Like, shoes are last. Coat is actually goes on before shoes. And so those are the things I think people don't think about. And the thing I really want to say is, then if you have other stressors in your life, like my uncle just passed from cancer due to his military service, that wreaks havoc on your body too.
Mhm. The
So,
emotions.
mhm. So, or sometimes just like a change. I mean, I know your dog passed. I know that wreaked havoc on your disabilities. Just like your buddy's gone.
Yeah. My comfort, my support with the sepsis, the depression and the anxiety and everything, my comfort animal. And it takes you down, like, fast and hard.
Mm-hmm. And so for me, I say this all the time, and I think you know how I am, because you've known me for a year now, or a little more, is that I don't do helplessness. Like, I'm just like, okay, well, I don't feel well today. What can I do from the bed?
Yeah.
What can I do for the bed? To be perfectly honest, I don't care. This is a cheat code for anybody who wants to write ever. If you cannot sit at your computer because you don't feel well, grab your phone, do either a voice thing on Subs. I don't care about grammar when I'm writing on Substack on my phone. I edit on my computer. I write whatever. It's like, if I'm writing on my phone, it's free form and I'm not worried about editing or whatever. I just like put all my ideas down when I don't have the energy to sit up. Like, anything below 6, it means that I have to like incorporate laying down.
Yeah.
Or a nap.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of work sometimes that can be done or has to be done from lying down.
Right.
the newsletter, and you call it, I love the things you title, again, so spot on. Nothing about us without us.
You're talking about the publication?
Yeah,
So
like
let me.
how did that title itself speaks to.
So it comes out of the disability movement in South Africa, but how this ended up becoming the title was, and I didn't know that, was I was part of an initial like group based in California online, and they said nothing without us, right? And then I was like, well, why don't we call the newsletter? Because I was part of that. Why don't we call it Nothing Without Us, right? And then I was just like, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I ended up at the publication. It started off as just a straight newsletter.
Yeah.
And I was doing the writing, and then I brought on other people early on because I was like, I can write, but nobody wants to read me all the time because at some point you get bored, right? Reading some like once a month maybe, or once a week, but I was writing twice a week, so I was like, let me bring on other people who are part of the community who want to contribute. If you ever are, if those who subscribe know that on Thursdays, like it used to be Wednesdays, but now it's Thursdays, we have different rotating contributors. And then on Tuesdays, I do the primary writing, or the organizational author does the writing. Sometimes I'm doing the writing, sometimes it's not me, but it's like one of the leaders who's doing the writing on whatever call to action we have, or series that leads to a call to action. Those get published on Tuesdays. And then the third Tuesday of the month is Disability Conversations, which is an audio series. And I know some people are like, well, how about people who are part of the deaf and hard of hearing community? Because you subscribe, guess what I do? I make sure there's a transcript. It might not be the best transcript because I have learning disabilities myself, but I make sure there's a transcript.
Right.
And because it's audio, so I will like record on whatever Zoom or whatever platform, and I just use the audio for that. It is not a podcast. And that's the difference, right? And I tell people, people said, well, is it a podcast? I'm like, no, because there isn't this, like, it's not, we don't edit. It's like, it is what it is. And depending on how bad it is, I won't publish it. And one that I did not publish because there was too much audio issues. But there's been times where the audio wasn't great because of internet, dropping or whatever. And I leave that stuff in there because, I mean, you've probably listened to at least some of the episodes. And I'm like, no, we're just going to be real, right? Like, we'll do a podcast later in the year where it's like all like fancy, and we'll have music and intro and all of that. But right now it's like, nope, I'm going to just do whatever's going to be. And if people want it fancy in the disability community, guess what they could do? They can volunteer, right? Because I don't do the whole, like, I have opinions and then you're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah. Allows everybody's authentic voice to come through. And that's what's important, because you get that diversity of voices in there and the authenticity, because, disability itself isn't pretty. So it's what is coming from the heart and the voices of everyone, instead of other people talking about people with disabilities and what they're going to do for our community. It has to be the disability community themselves.
It has to be. And one of the things I try to do is I try to differentiate between, like, okay, what we write about versus what we live stream about versus what like the Disability Conversations audio series is. Like, when we do Disability Conversations, it's mainly like activists or just general everyday people who are not like well-known activists, but they have disabilities and they're doing the work, but they're not like the ones on stage. Like, but I've gotten people like Alex Green, who is an author and works for Harvard, and I've gotten Keith Jones, who's my mentor, and he lives across the river from me, and I'm gonna get to hang out with him this weekend. And then I get somebody who he's friends with, who's not like this well-known activist, but does work and has a daughter with a disability. And then I have lots. Right,
Yeah.
right. I have Lachi for April, so it's like, and then in May I'm gonna have somebody who isn't like super well known. Then I'm gonna have another like person who's well known who has a large following in disability in June. So it's like, and all of these things change, right? Because it isn't like, for me, I'm not fighting to be in the disability space. Like, there's plenty of organizations
Mhm.
like the legacy ones that are doing the work, like DREDF and APD and all of that, and that's fine. They can
Yeah.
do their work, and I'm happy for them and whatever. But they're not. There's a void that's missing that I understand as an experience of being a person of color and being a member of the LGBTQ community. You need to have your own media, like 100%, not just like you need to be interviewing people, you need to be engaging on what's happening. And even though I am not a Gen Zer at all, I'm a younger Gen Xer, I'm part of younger Gen Xer, elder millennial, like that micro generation, technically, barely, very barely. It depends on what depending on who decides where the birth year begins and ends. Sometimes I'm in, sometimes I'm out. It's one of those things. It's like, okay, how are we gonna move, right? And that's why I am always like, then I've said this to you, when like health comes first. Like,
Yeah.
the work will always be here, but your health won't.
Right.
Right.
True. Very true. And I think you're like the epitome of a grassroots organization. As I said in the beginning, like so unique and like no other, because we have a lot of disability communities. Um, and but yours specifically, talking about democracy, and it's bipartisan, really. I mean,
Yeah,
this
because
is
I'm moderate conservative. I would,
yeah,
I'm like, I tell people all the time, I'm for like civil rights and human rights for people, but I'm also for limited government, because even though I consider healthcare a human right, I don't trust the government to run healthcare because of all the experiments they've done, like to Black and brown folks. No, thank you.
yeah, Tuskegee, and yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
there's a
mean,
history there for sure.
there's a history. It's not that I don't trust doctors. I'm going to make this clear to the listeners. I go to
Yeah,
the doctor on a regular basis. I just don't trust the government to run healthcare because of it. I will trust a private corporation a lot faster than I will trust the government at this point. Now,
right.
if you want a public option, great, put one in. But I don't want the government making decisions on what specialists I see or whatever. No, thank you. We know, I have friends who live in Canada, and they say in certain ways, it's, yeah, okay, we have better healthcare. I don't have a bill, but if I have to see a specialist, it could take me a year to see a specialist.
Right.
No, thank you. I can see a specialist within 3 months, 6 months tops. I'm not waiting a year to see a specialist.
Right. And that's what it's important too for people to realize, that it's not a partisan community. This isn't a Democrat or Republican organization. It's a big tent, really, for everyone and for everybody's voice to be
Right.
heard.
And I will say this, like, I will have, like, if there was a Republican candidate who actually had policies that were for people with disabilities, and they were able to say, like, RFK wears a tinfoil hat, would we
You'd be
endorse them?
there. You'd go for it.
I would be like, yeah, I would endorse them, like we endorse Jasmine Crockett. We are not like, we are not a party apparatus for anyone. I've literally said to people that I'm mad at the governor of California and the governor of New York and criminalizing homelessness. They're doing the same thing that the current occupant did with his executive order. But because they're Democrats, hey, it's all right. No, it's not. But
No,
hey, nobody wants to rock the vote because the Republicans are worse. And I'm like, no, both parties are bad for people with disabilities in ways that you don't see, because we know those of us who actually know the history, or the 504, which is under the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, was signed by Richard Nixon. He vetoed it like twice, but he signed it eventually under a Democratic president because his cabinet member would not sign the regulations. So let's not get this twisted saying Democrats are better on disability. They're not.
And the first President Bush signed the ADA.
Yes. And his son, who everybody hates because of what he did in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I understand that, he actually was the one who told the Supreme Court, hold my beer, when they said, hey, the interpretation of the ADA, you got it wrong. This is not what it meant. And he literally said, Congress, you need to update. And that vote was unanimous. And that was almost 20 years ago.
Right.
So those are the things we're fighting for now. Like, we're fighting for updates to the ADA. We're fighting against the nonsense of RFK. We're putting on voices that are different than ourselves. Like, I don't care how old you are. I don't care what kind of disability you have. If I will say this, the cows come home. I'm trying to work with someone who needs an AAC device. I'm like, okay, what do you need? You need the questions ahead of time? We can't do it how we normally do it? Great, I'll give you the questions ahead of time. Their AAC device is their phone, but so what? And I'm also trying to bring some unity between general disability overall and the disabled vets. So, because most of the people that we work with generally are not disabled vets. They're people who become disabled either due to an accident, due to illness, or like myself, were disabled since childhood and were in special education, either, for physical reasons or learning disabilities or both. And sometimes you were mainstream, sometimes you weren't. I was mainstream, but I got pulled out of class. That was not fun. And we'll talk about that if you want. Yeah. But I'm doing this series for Disability Pride Month, and this is like the working title. It's called Invisible Wounds, Visible Strength, Disabled Veterans in Focus. So we're doing an special audio series on that. Last year we recorded the interviews, but then we transcribed them. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Like, let's just, why don't I just do an audio series, right? Because it's more authentic. And I'm dedicating the series to my Uncle Miguel, who passed away. He's my favorite uncle. He's my mom's oldest brother. Died of cancer due to his military service. And he had some other health issues on top of it, but it was really the cancer that took him out. And I think for me, the thing that makes me
he was very young, right?
Yeah, he wasn't even 70. He was 68. The last time I saw him was on his birthday. And the last time I spoke to him was, I think September, October of last year. And then he was just in and out of the hospital, and to the point that he couldn't talk anymore. He was barely talking. And, my brother because my family's from the New York tri-state area, Massachusetts isn't close, so I couldn't go see him. And I would just tell my mom, tell him I'm thinking about him. And I was his favorite niece. I'm also the oldest. My mom had kids first, and he has his own kids. But I was baby girl. He called me baby girl ever since I was a baby. He still called me that when I saw him, and I just was like, loved it but hate it, because I'm like, I'm a grown adult. He still calls me baby girl. Sometimes he would call me kiddo. That was the other one. And I'm just like, no. And then, of course, my brother, he's the only one that calls my brother by his legal name. So everyone calls my brother Freddie, and my brother's legal name is Federico. He's the only one that calls him by his legal name, right? And I'm just like, that was something between the two of them, because my mom doesn't call him by his legal name. I don't. My stepfather does it. No one in the family does, but my uncle. And so So that was something between the two of them. And so I think about my uncle, and I think about he loved being a veteran, and how can I honor his memory? And it's fighting for people like him who ended up getting sick due to their service and having issues, like alcoholism, drug addiction, PTSD from getting cancer eventually,
Yeah.
and fight for them and have their stories be told, and not just within like the veteran disability space, but within the disability community, because we don't know their stories.
No, absolutely not. And for the service and the sacrifice that they've done. And this is going to start in July, this month, right? Because
Yeah,
this episode will air in
yeah.
July.
Yeah, it's gonna be in July. I'm recording in June, and then it's gonna be released in the order of who records first, second, third. There's 5 Thursdays, so I'm hoping to have 5, but the minimum is 4, because there's usually 4. And if I don't get 5, I'll write something on for Disability Pride Month to wrap it up. But I really want to have 5 episodes, 5 conversations with different vets. Right now, I have 2. I'm hoping for a third. I got a woman vet. And I'm more looking for, at this point, like, I'm not trying to, I'm not really worried about like the racial diversity or whatever. I'm really more concerned about the gender diversity, because a lot of the highlights of disabled vets are men, and even men of color, but we don't hear from women. So
Yeah.
my this is my hope. My hope is, if I do this series, maybe a certain senator, I can send it to her, Senator Tammy Duckworth. I hope
Yeah.
listen to these stories, because you're also a disabled vet yourself, and maybe she'll come on. But I'm not doing it for that. I mean, it would be nice if she'd like listen to the stories, but I'm really doing it to honor my uncle, and to honor our veterans who became disabled due to their service. They didn't like sign, they signed up to serve their country. They didn't sign up to become disabled.
Right.
And they're not being taken care of. I mean, they get a lot of more benefits than we do as disabled folks,
Mhm.
but it's still not enough,
No.
right? Like I think they should have housing paid for, like 100, like they should have housing especially for them.
Yeah.
Like they have senior housing, they should have veteran housing, and they should have counseling, not just for the veteran, but for the family. Because when this is what people fail to realize. My brother served in Iraq in the 2000s. When he got deployed, we all got deployed with him,
Right.
right? And we
Yeah.
were all traumatized. And at that point, I had physical disabilities prior to him, and mental health disorders, mental health disorders.
Uh-huh.
And this was before like all of like the other stuff that I have after he came back. That played havoc on my body. I had seizures at certain points every single day because I was freaked out.
Yeah. And that's a good way to put it, that when they go to serve, the family does too.
Yeah, and there isn't, they don't care. They don't care about the family. They say they do, but they don't. They always focus on like the vets with kids and with families, like they're married, but not a lot of vets now aren't getting married anymore. And so they're like coming home. They live with their parents when they enlist, and they go back home to their parents. And it's like, how about the people who have to deal with their parents and their siblings?
Right.
Like, how about us? Like, we got to deal with it too. We got to deal with the trauma and the fallout and the chaos after they come home. But hey, the government doesn't care.
Especially after years of not acknowledging that sending young people over to fight and do the things and see the things that they see and then come back. I mean, because I'm 63, and I remember when a lot of people came back from serving in Vietnam, and those people were traumatized. I mean, it was mostly young men, mostly poor young men, That's who got drafted. And the mental health issues were extraordinary. I mean, it was something, and the families didn't know how to deal with it. And a lot of these vets became homeless as a result because they couldn't cope with what they saw. And then
these were
coming back
18
here, and then it's like, but there was no help. They couldn't even admit they had a problem.
These were 18, 19-year-olds, right? Like when my brother went, he was at least closer to 30 when he went. So his frontal lobe was more developed, but my brother had troops under him that were like 18, 19, 21-year-olds. And I'm like, how
they can't even drink till they're 21.
Right. Is that like they can vote, they can enlist, but they can't drink alcohol and they can't buy cigarettes.
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me ever. But I think for me, I think the thing that scares me the most, what's happening right now with Rand and the conversation I had with the live stream I did last night with disabled veteran, is that we're so mad at the current occupant and his co-conspirators that we're ignoring the fact that these people aren't getting packages of food because there's never enough food on ship.
No.
Logistics sucks. That was one of the jobs my brother had when he was in the military.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. And we're supposed to ignore the fact that people have died, people have become disabled. I doubt anybody who swore an oath didn't swear to become disabled for oil or for a foreign country other than our own. Right? I know plenty of people willing to become in the military, willing to die for our country or become disabled for our country, but not.
Especially with, again, the whole reason your community was started and exists is because of the concerns over RFK, but also that somebody's like has to be a voice, somebody has to represent. And as I said, when I introduced you, you are a voice and you're giving others a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because disability is something a lot of people don't care about if they're not disabled, but it's the community. It's the one community, like with the veterans, that anyone can join at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know, like, what it could be or what can happen.
You don't know. And that's the reason why I am highlighting this, because there are too many people who I'm close to that have become disabled due to their military service. And I want them to have a place to land when they come back. Right?
Right.
It's one thing to get sick and like they have burn pits regardless. They burn documents, they have burn pits regardless if it's wartime or not. That's one thing, right? And that sucks in and of itself. But imagine you get sick due to combat. That these people are not afraid to fight. They're not afraid to die. They don't want to die for an illegal war. And they've like removed so many of the mechanisms to make it hard for people to be conscientious objectors. And I get, like, people are like, well, why do you care about this so much? I mean, the disability community has other issues. Like, there's the Big Thievery Bill, also known as the Big Beautiful Bill. There's transportation. But I'm like, I'm not saying they're not better than us as disabled individuals who acquire disability or born with disabilities. But these people were not disabled before, or if they had disabilities, they were invisible, like they had ADHD or something like that. They didn't have physical disabilities that impacted their life or mental health disabilities that impacted their life. They went in with a mind that was not broken and a body that wasn't broken. And they came out with a mind and body that was damaged. In some cases, completely broken. You mentioned that your husband's friend never was the same after. I think that's why, for me, this is so important. We're fighting for liberal democracy no matter who's in power. And if it's unjust, it's unjust. And if one person isn't free, we're not, all of us aren't free. And our disabled veterans need to be protected. Like us, the two of us who are in the general disability bucket, we also need to be protected too. But we need to build community, and you can't protect each other without building community. So we got to get to know each other. We have to understand why do you lean politically this way? What have you been told? What is your music interest like? You got to get to know the whole person when you're trying to do this work. You can't just say these are the issues and I'm going to run for office and all of that. And I've learned, it's interesting, like that was kind of sort of like my thought. Well, we need to be everywhere. We're 30% approximately, if you include children.
Yeah.
And don't have political power. But
1 in 4, isn't it? Is it 1 in 4 Americans are disabled or have some sort of disability?
They say 1 in 4, but it's actually higher than that. It's around 30%.
Yeah.
Well, more than 1 in 4. So it's probably about 28% of the population.
Right.
So that's why they round down instead of rounding up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there is one thing I really wanted to discuss with you and get your thoughts on. So the ADA is going to be 36 years old at the end of this month. And I mean, I go places all the time, and we all do, that are not disability friendly in the least, and no efforts being made. Like, what kind of changes would you like to see if you were elected congressperson or senator or something? What are things that you would do or want to see in our society to make it a more inclusive society?
Well, I would, first of all, the ADA just needs to be updated, hands down, and it needs to more reflect the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There needs to be something called disparate impact. So for those who don't know what it means, it's like basically if your group has been discriminated against, over time, there's an impact that builds in the community. I am not explaining, I don't know all the technical terms, and I'm not explaining it perfectly, but if I filed a civil rights complaint before the current occupant and his co-conspirators, they would look into disparate impact. There is not that there, and if there's more people who are impacted by this, towards a entity, they can file a class action lawsuit. They don't have that. So that's part of the problem with the ADA, is that it's not the government won't investigate unless it's a complaint on the Civil Rights Act, where they can look at behavior of organizations without a formal complaint. That's number one. Number two, fully funding putting everything under the ADA, really. And actually, I do think we need to update the Civil Rights Act to include disability.
Definitely.
I think it harms. I think we need to have some separation, because there are some differences between all the other groups. But I do think the Civil Rights Act of 1964 does need to be updated to include disability.
Right.
So they can work in tandem. That would be the one thing I would want to see. I would want them to see them work in tandem, hand in hand, and update both of them at the same time. And I think the last thing would be fully funding education. Now, I'm not talking about just K through 12. I'm talking about post K through 12. And I'm not just talking about college. I'm talking about trades too, because some people don't want to go to college.
Right.
And a lot of students with disabilities, especially of learning disabilities, college is not necessarily built for you. So they might want to learn a trade instead. Yeah. People with learning disabilities, a lot of times they go into the military because the college isn't built for them. And I mean, my brother's one of those people. My brother and I both have learning disabilities, and I had more issues and disabilities as a child than he did. So I couldn't go into the military. That was just not going to happen. But he could. Yeah. Right? But college is built for me because of because of because of the way my mind works with my disabilities, I'm more of like an academic and like real academic. Sometimes you read some of my writing and you're like, how does she know this? Or how does she know this thing? And I'm like, because I listen to audiobooks, sometimes I'll read articles, but I mainly watch documentaries, and I'll like watch multiple documentaries on the same topic and like figure out which is wrong here. I heard this before. You didn't talk about this. You got this wrong, whatever. And then I learned. And so that's how I'm building Disability Community for Democracy. I'm actually learning history overall to build community, and updating the ADA is something that that's one of the things we're actually working on as one of our goals this year, is to actually get the process started. We know it's going to take a while.
Right.
But that's one of the goals, is to get the process started, because we don't want this stuff happening again. I'm going to say this for me, I want some protections in there that government is not allowed to form a registry of any type to round up people with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's not allowed. That would be something that needs to be in the ADA. No registries, period.
Yeah.
I mean, I know states have registries, but those are voluntary.
Right.
What they wanted to do with the autism registry was not voluntary. They wanted to take people's personal information. No. I mean, I know there are laws against it, but I want it clear, if the government does it, the federal government does it, that they can be sued.
Right.
I'm tired of the federal government being able to get away with stuff, harm our community, and then it's like, oops, you can't sue because they're sovereign. It's like,
Yeah.
no thank you.
And that's not cool. Yeah. I mean, definitely. And again, you're being a grassroots organization. I think grassroots is where stuff happens.
Well, we're more than just grassroots. Like, we're grassroots with a social enterprise kind of sort of way, though. We're not just like the typical grassroots organizations that says, oh, I'm going to go out and protest and whatever. No, we do it in a way that's different, right? We're always trying. We're like, okay, we need to get the message out, but we also need to make it fun, raise money, and earn our keep as an organization. We're not like tell people, support us, give us donations without you getting something from us. So yes, it's a grassroots feel to what the work that we do, but it's very social enterprise driven in the whole, like, how do I say it? Like, in the vibe that we do, it's like, okay, we are incorporated as a nonprofit instead of a for-profit social enterprise in the state of Delaware. Fine, right? But we're still all volunteering our time, right? Because we have to, because people don't want to invest in the disability community, and and this is how a disability renaissance gets created, right? It has to be started by somebody.
Yeah.
And it has to be started by somebody who isn't afraid, who isn't going to offend funders, who doesn't have funders to offend, or doesn't care if they offend people with their truth. And I'm at a point, I say this all the time, I think once you turn 40, actually once you turn 35, really, you turn 35, you say, I'm too old and I'm too tired. You just get, and then when you have a disability, you're just like, I'm too old, too tired, and I don't care. The world isn't built for me. I will adapt, but I am not going to tolerate garbage anymore. So that's where I'm at.
We bring a lot to the table. You bring a lot to the table. And people have to realize, again, like I said earlier in the program, the commitment you'll get from somebody with a disability is phenomenal, because we're still always trying to prove ourselves. We're always trying to prove our worth, or trying to prove that we can have a seat at the table and give something that is tangible and feasible and that makes this crazy world a better place.
And I'm not even trying to ask for a seat at the table. I'm not even trying to bring a folding chair like Shirley Chisholm said when she was alive. I'm like, I'm just building my own table, and you want to come sit, bring your own chairs. We
Bring your
will
chairs.
bring your chairs, because this table will expand, and it
Yeah.
will not be a rectangular table. It will be a circle. The circle is about equity.
Absolutely. And everybody's welcome.
Exactly.
Well, leave our audience with a message of how they can help disability community with democracy. I will have links in the description box below also, but how can people with disabilities or not having disabilities help disability community for democracy to grow and to expand?
So I will say, first thing that people can do is become paid subscribers. Do nothing about us without us. And that's really going to be a big deal.
And it's a nominal fee, right? It's not much.
It's like 50 bucks a year. 50 bucks a year. Do the annual. Do it once. Don't do like the $5, or $7 a month. The monthly is going to go up, but the annual is going to stay the same after Disability Pride Month is over. But you gotta subscribe to. You gotta be on Substack to subscribe to the publication. That's how you can help. Also, I mean, we do take donations, but we do have a store. We're gonna have some merch, and it's a new series I have in my based on an article that I wrote. That's our Disability Pride Month event this year, virtual event. There's going to be shirts and mugs and stuff, and that's going to be the only thing where we might do like one other. We might keep the autism registry stuff going, but that might, stuff around that. But a lot of the other stuff is going to like be gone, and to say no to Crip Crow and
Right.
some people are saying, well, why are you calling Crip Crow? Okay, first of all, if you use Google, there's something called Jim Crip Crow for people who have disabilities. It's the pipeline from special ed to prison, and these people are black and brown. And we're also being placed in our own segregation again, right? I mean, they literally said, hey, we are not going to, they put in new updated this and that. The websites.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, websites, like, they don't need to follow the updates until, like, 2029, and I'm just like, "Really? So you're making it all inaccessible for people?" So we're gonna do stuff like that. That's why the Say No to Crypto is really, like, the theme for 2026 into 2027, because it's these little things that they're doing. They're taking away, programs around diversity, equity, inclusion,
Right.
and accessibility. Those things are happening at the federal level, and then it's spilling down to the state level. And then, of course, there's the cuts, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes to healthcare, yes to, dignity. Like, these are things that we're doing. For all of that stuff is going to be available starting in July, right? It's going to be available. And I think that's really important. And the thing I will say is that's how you can help, but you can also help if you can't even do any of those things, right? Become a free subscriber to Nothing About Us Without Us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky, and Reddit. We're on Reddit too. So you can.
Cool. I didn't know you were on Reddit. Okay.
We're on Reddit too. Yeah, we just started a Reddit page. Follow us on those platforms. Instagram is our biggest social media platform, but it's actually not our biggest platform. Our biggest platform is Substack, right? Because people want long form content now.
Yes.
They don't want, they want clips. They want to have access to you. They want to have these parasocial relationships. So the live streams, that's why we do the live streams. That's why we do all the other things that we do outside of the writing. But it's the writing that eventually what people stay for.
And it comes very conveniently in your email and your newsletter. I mean, it's right there. You could read it right on your email. You could go to the Substack website. I mean, it's great.
Or you can go to the app. And if you go to the app,
Yes.
if you
the
go to the
Substack.
app, if you go to the Substack app, and if you become a paid subscriber or even a free subscriber, if you become a paid subscriber, you can comment on articles. If you become a free subscriber, you can like articles and you can actually learn more about the different writers that we have. Because I am literally just at this point, primarily just the publisher. Most articles at this point are on Thursdays are not written by me.
Yeah.
So you you don't know who you're going to get on a Thursday. You might get me, you might get someone else, but they're all good. They're all good articles. And I'm not saying, and I'm going to say this, I'm not the best writer. We have people who write better than me on our team, but we all write from the heart and we all are just speaking our truth from our lived experience with different types of disabilities too.
And that's what counts. It's the being authentic. And that's some of the best reading that anybody can do. And you can learn so much just from your Substack. People can learn.
Yeah, and the thing I want to just say this about the Substack, so when people aren't blindsided, we do talk about other issues like intimate partner violence. I've shared my experience with that. We talk about the intersection between that and disability. We will talk about that intersection between that and sexual assault. We talk about these things because disability is not the only thing that we deal with. We're a whole people,
right?
And we deal with all things, and every issue is a disability issue. If you come through, or come on down, as they say on The Price is Right.
Yeah.
I've dating myself. I know it's still on, but I can't watch it with the new host. I like Bob Barker. I miss him. He was my guy from childhood into college. Anytime I got sick, I would stay home. I would watch The Price is Right. Come on down.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say. And Jackie, I want to say thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you for the work that you're doing. I want to say thank you for your friendship. We just hit it off wow, right? Because, I mean, you are the same age as my stepfather. So for me, it's okay, I have another, older figure, not parental, but somebody's been doing, you've been doing certain things that I just don't. I'm how do I do this, right? Sometimes I'll ask Jackie, how do I do something? She's did the podcast before I went live, and she's well, I do editing and I do this and I have this program, and I just did research, and I'm okay, that's not going to work for me, but this is going to work. And that's, why, Jackie, I also watch what you do with your social media. It's been my pleasure. And I hope that you will come on the live stream on a Friday to talk about the podcast.
Yeah, I would definitely love to. And Nieta, I have to tell you, I feel the same way. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for the disability community so that we have something to be a part of, and for your giving people a voice with disabilities and so many other issues that are so important. And you're an incredible person. You accomplish so much. And, you've had amazing people on the seminars and on the webinars and on everything. And I really look to you for inspiration as well. And you keep me going on some days where I am just way, way down. And I see you out there, and you're making all of us visible. And
you do the thing with the medical stuff, because for me, that would be when you were posting on your social media, I'm going to the doctor again, and I'm Jackie's going to the doctor. It's going to take her an hour to get there. And I'm if Jackie can go to the doctor, my doctors are way closer. I can go. It's only 20 minutes away by paratransit taxi. I can do that. Because there are days I don't want to go to my physical therapy appointments. I'm I don't want to go. And it's okay, if Jackie could drive an hour to go to the doctor in
In
Baltimore,
DC.
DC,
Baltimore. Yeah.
that I can take my behind to doctors if it's 20 minutes away without traffic by a car, which that's how I get there, is a ride. So it's not like I got to take public transportation to get there. It's not the second of Buttercup, but it's like, okay, you're motivating me. And also, like, you motivate me when you do your appointment. You're like, oh, I don't have the energy, but I'm going to go to my appointment anyway. Like, not just medical, just like personal appointments. Like, I have a personal appointment tomorrow that I don't want to go to, but I'm going to go anyway because I'm like, okay, what would Jackie do? Jackie would get up early. She would get dressed. She would make sure she eats, and this won't be a swim day, but she will make sure she incorporates her walking into this. So, in some form of exercise if it's not swimming. So,
Yep.
so I think,
and now I'm working on my surgery. I got to get strong for that surgery. So I was completely embarrassing today on social media. Tried to do that Madonna squat challenge.
No, I don't even try. Nope.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I think I did 5.
How many squats was the challenge?
5, 4, 5. She did like 15 or something. It was something insane, but yeah, I try. Yeah. Sometimes I just don't care what I look like. I just try.
Yes. So I guess, like, I'm super happy to have been on. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Same, Nieta. I was so excited to have you on today. And thank you again. Thank you, Nieta. Thank you, listeners. And like I said, just always remember, this is not medical advice. You have a medical problem, call your doctor, call 911. And thank you again for tuning in.
Peace out.